Hello, everyone. My name is Rick Garcia, and I'm a coordinator in New Student Connections here at the University of South Florida. New Student Connections, or NSC, is a resource to support you throughout your time as a Bull, whether by connecting you to resources to help with academics or helping you to build community and make friends. I'm very excited to welcome you to our How to College virtual chats, where we hope you'll be able to learn more and get your questions answered regarding a number of academic and institutional topics. In a moment, I will introduce some of our great student leaders who will be helpful resources for you, followed by a campus partner for tonight's topic of caring for yourself through the virtual experience. They will give you some helpful tips and information, and then we'll have the Q&A session where you'll get a chance to ask them some of your burning questions. The first pal joining us is Kayla Miner, who's a fourth-year student majoring in health sciences. Kayla is joined by Ivy Soto, who's a third-year student majoring in interdisciplinary social sciences. Take it away, y'all.
Thanks, Rick. Like he said, my name's Kayla, and I'm super excited to be here with y'all tonight. I'm a fourth-year student majoring in health sciences with split concentrations in biological and social and behavioral health sciences with a minor in psychology. And I'm also from Rentham, Massachusetts. So today we'll be learning all things about self-care in a virtual world, including getting organized, knowing your limits, and practicing wellness. And by the end of the session, you'll all have some great tools and information for self-care in this virtual world.
That's right, Kayla. My name is Ivy, and I'm a third-year student majoring in interdisciplinary social sciences with concentrations in criminology and psychology, and I have a minor in women's and gender studies, and I'm from Valrico, Florida. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited to learn more about this self-care in a virtual world. We have some folks here with us that are experts on campus when it comes to this topic, so please allow me to introduce Kathleen Koviak, Health Promotion Specialist in the Center for Student Wellbeing, along with Alyssa Garino, Reach Peer Health Educator. We'll be in great hands learning more from them.
Thanks so much, Kayla and Ivy. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. So as they mentioned, my name is Kathleen Koviak. I am the Health Promotion Specialist in the Center for Student Wellbeing. So if you're not familiar with our office, we provide a lot of health education and promotion and outreach to students on the USF Tampa campus, and have a group of peer health educators with us that help in that mission. And really want students to feel their best and do their best here at USF and beyond.
Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Garino, and I'm a third-year student studying cell and molecular biology, and this is my second year as a peer health educator. I'm also so excited to share with you some tips that you can use to care for yourself this semester.
Great. So we know that the adjustment to virtual learning likely hasn't been easy, even though we've been in this situation for almost a year now, which is kind of incredible to think about. There's still a lot that we have to adjust to and figure out. So, and that comes with both that academic transition, but also our personal wellness transition. So knowing that in order to succeed academically, you also need to prioritize your own wellness and to take care of yourself in all sorts of ways. So we hope to provide you with some strategies that will help you not only stay on top of your courses, but also make sure that you're listening to your body and giving it what it needs. So we'll start by talking about some strategies that can help you get and stay organized, and then talking about some goal setting, but also recognizing what your limitations might be and being realistic. And then we'll get into some more self-care strategies and making sure that you are listening to your body and practicing wellness in a way that makes sense for you. So to start off, might ask you to just kind of reflect on last semester being likely your first fully virtual semester and see what worked, what didn't work. And was the system that you had in place for organization one that was helpful, or are there room for improvements? So students choose to organize and keep track of assignments in a variety of ways. So it's important to find out a system that works for you and that you're checking regularly and that helps you stay on track. So a lot of students choose to do it the old-fashioned way and like to write things down and have that physical list of things that are going on and ways to map it all out. So physical planners are a great choice for that. There's monthly ones, weekly, daily. You can even map it out, you know, in 15-minute increments if you really like to have it down to a science. MSC offers free planners for students. So if you're on campus and are looking for a way to better organize your schedule, feel free to stop by and pick one up from the front desk of the Marshall Student Center. Online trackers and planners are also an option. So if you're used to just doing everything from your phone or computer, you can have different apps or calendars, Google Calendar, or there's apps like Trello that can have this kind of task management block. You can like set blocks of time to do different things, and even Excel, you know, is a way to keep track of assignments and when they're due. So encourage you to try those out if you haven't already and figure out something that works for your style. It can also be helpful just to keep that daily list of things that you hope to accomplish that day and writing down those due dates and keep it, you know, close at hand so you can know when, have that reminder when things are due and know what's coming up so nothing takes you by surprise. And knowing what to put in those planners is good. So taking your syllabi and writing down when every assignment is due, when you have exams coming up, so that you'll be well prepared. And then along those same lines, thinking about what study system did you have in place last semester and how did that work for you? So some tips to stay focused. I know it can be a lot easier to get distracted when we are virtual and looking at screens and have other tabs and browser windows open. So we encourage you to stay focused and have different strategies that can help you increase your focus. So one that we talk about a lot is the Pomodoro method, and that's breaking up your study time into smaller chunks and setting that timer and then giving yourself a break. So limiting all of your distractions during that time and really have that focused study session. There's even some apps and extensions that can help you stay focused. So Forest is an app that I've heard students use. So it has that timer feature built in. And if you don't look at your phone or have any of those distractions during that minute, you can start building a little plant. And so in order to not kill the plant, you want to keep studying. And so some students like having that like accountability in keeping them focused for that amount of time. Focus Keeper and Mindful Browsing are a couple other ones that you might want to check out as well.
So when you have a planning system, it's important to be able to set realistic goals around your plan. So when setting realistic goals, especially during this virtual semester, it's really important to look back, either back in the fall semester or even past springs, to understand your own study habits, how long it takes for you to complete tasks, and what you're physically capable of doing in a day, week, or month. I know, especially during virtual time, a lot of our daily routines have been kind of messed up, and we might not have set a routine since the fall semester. So I have some tips for setting realistic goals, especially when you don't have classes in person or you have asynchronous classes and you don't have a schedule for you to keep track of. My first tip is to learn how you study best. Every type of study is different for each person. Some people are better at studying in the morning, or some people like to study at nighttime. Kind of keeping track on when you feel the most productive is especially important when setting realistic goals, because if you're finding yourself setting, I will complete 3 assignments at 7 o'clock in the morning, but you know that you study the best at 7 p.m., it might not be the best idea to make that goal because you know yourself and you know how well you study. The other tip I have is to know how long it takes for you to complete assignment. If you're planning out your day or your week or your month and you see yourself planning out 5-6 assignments a day, but you know these take a few hours or even you have to space them out between days because it might be a really long paper, know how long it takes for you to do this. So you don't have to overwhelm yourself when you look at your planner and realize that you only completed 1 or 2 assignments. Sometimes assignments take a while and you might overestimate or underestimate the time that it takes for you to finish. Another one is to focus on what's most important versus what comes easiest. I know for me that I kind of fall into the tendency of wanting to complete the easiest assignments first and kind of pushing back the things that might be due that night. So just to keep realistic, you have to probably plan around the most important or an assignment that's due that night versus maybe an assignment that's due the next week, but it's just really easy to finish. A lot of times when planning, we don't want to finish the really hard assignments, but that's where you become realistic and you know, I have to finish this, and you want to give yourself enough time to really do this assignment well and not rush it. Another tip that I have is to determine how much time you can dedicate in a day or a week to schoolwork. So this goes along with just knowing how you study and how long it takes for you to complete assignment. If you're taking too many assignments each day and you know that you have other responsibilities, it's important to map out when you have work, when you have another club, maybe a club meeting or another responsibility, so that you don't overwhelm your schedule and you just burn out or you realize that you can't accomplish everything that you would want to. So I do have some tips to stay on track if you find that a lot of the times that setting realistic goals might be hard, or you are having trouble realizing how you can really plan something that will maximize your productivity, but also give yourself some breaks. My first tip for that is just breaking up bigger tasks into smaller ones. A lot of times you might be assigned a really long paper that might be 8 to 10 pages long, or have a group assignment that might take a few months to finish. So breaking these up into smaller tasks can make these assignments not be as daunting as they look. Giving yourself these smaller goals and writing these down either in any planning system that you have, or just reminding yourself, I can finish a few paragraphs today. I don't have to write the entire essay in one night. It can prevent burnout and loss of motivation while doing an assignment, especially if it appears way too difficult or time consuming. Another tip that I have is build incentives. Sometimes there really is a limit on how much we can accomplish in a day, especially with our mental and physical health. A tip that I usually use a lot is just rewarding yourself for completing either a large task or even something small. I like to get Starbucks with my friend if I finish a really long paper, or just spend a little bit on the couch just browsing through Netflix if I finish something that was really big. Your mind might reward you for just taking this break and realizing that you completed something that was really difficult or really long. And sometimes it's good just to take a break after these assignments instead of going straight into another one. Also, just know when you start to get distracted. If you find yourself losing focus or you just can't finish that last question, again, give yourself a small break. A lot of the times when we're on a computer for a really long time and we're just doing homework or classes for hours on end, a lot of the times our brain and our body are telling us to take a break. I would recommend just kind of checking, do like a body check after a class or an assignment. Realize, am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Do I have a headache by staring at the computer for too long? Sometimes when we start to lose focus when we're doing things, especially on the computer during this virtual time, these can be moments that our body is telling us to really take a breather before going back to work and taking on another assignment. And it can really help on keeping motivation and stopping procrastination. So I've been mentioning a lot about taking breaks, and sometimes we really do need to take these breaks. They can be essential in supporting our mental well-being, our physical health, and ability to focus and concentrate. So when I talk about a break, it can look like anything to anyone. Some examples that I have is just setting a time to eat lunch. When you're doing things, especially when you're completely online, sometimes you don't have that set lunch time that you usually would have when you have in-person classes. You don't have that time in between walking between classes to grab something to eat. So I would recommend just planning a time to get lunch or have a quick healthy snack. And this can be a break where you can just take a little bit of time away from your computer, just grab a healthy lunch and eat. And sometimes we don't realize that we're hungry or even thirsty because we're just stuck on the computer focusing. And eating lunch can be a really great break. Also, taking a walk outside. If you can just take a walk outside, get some fresh air, take a breather. Even if you can't walk outside, walk around your dorm, your apartment for a little bit. Do something other than sitting down. A lot of the times when you're sitting down, you don't realize that you're getting tired or you're just losing motivation, and just getting your blood moving and your legs moving and just taking a walk or moving your body, doing some stretches can really help motivation and get you back onto that assignment. Another break can just look like sitting on the couch and watching a show. Sometimes we know that we can't do everything, and sometimes we really need a longer break, and that's perfectly fine. Not every single hour every day needs to be taken up by assignments or work. Sometimes we do need that just rest day or that few hours of just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. And that can really help us with our mental health, because not every day needs to look like a super productive day. Sometimes a break can be really productive as well. So along with the break is especially just listening to your body. Some of my go-to tips to promote self-care are just taking on smaller self-care activities. Sometimes when you have these quick breaks, maybe drinking water or eating lunch might not be enough for your brain to come back or even refresh. I recommend just sitting down and listening to some music, having some relaxing music in the background, maybe journaling your thoughts, writing down something that may be stressing you out or something that you're getting anxious about. And even just trying out some breathing exercises or some stretching during these little times of self-care can really get you back into your motivation and realize maybe why you're stressing about this assignment, or just somehow just have a quick break. With listening to your body, it's really important to realize when you're hungry, thirsty, tired, or distracted. Sometimes we're not really conditioned to notice when we're having thoughts of like, I'm thirsty or I'm hungry, and sometimes you can be really stuck online and you're not really paying attention to just body functions, and just maybe one time it's time to drink water or eat a snack. And I would definitely recommend just getting up, either standing up or just stretching or taking a walk, and realizing, do I feel tired right now? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Get like a quick little body check when you're in the middle of doing work and you start feeling distracted. I would also recommend, if you're feeling really tired, take a 20 to 30 minute nap. It's especially helpful if you didn't get that much sleep that last night, or you're just feeling tired in general. Definitely taking a quick nap can refresh your mind and get you back to it. And number one tip, definitely step away from your screens. A lot of the time I start getting headaches, especially when I'm stuck on the computer for many hours. So that can definitely be something that you can use if you're feeling tired, or you might just be feeling weird after sitting down for a while. Definitely take a break and see how you feel. When doing these small self-care acts or just taking a break, I would also recommend to find a safe space. And if possible, finding an area where you feel most comfortable and can help meet your needs. For example, your bedroom, a space that no one's around, a quiet bench outside, or somewhere in nature can always help you feel more relaxed and comfortable doing a quick self-care or just taking a break.
So now, just to wrap up, just a couple resources that USF has available to you that can help you take care of your wellness, your mental health, and your studying. So the first is Together All. So I saw it on the pre-show slide. So if you're not familiar with Together All, it is a new resource that's available to USF students. It's a 24/7 confidential online community that is free for you to access. So all you have to do is go to togetherall.com and put in your information, your USF email, and you'll get connected to this community. And it's a way to just find support, share your feelings. There's even kind of ways to draw out your feelings. And it's monitored by mental health professionals. So anything that is submitted kind of gets vetted through them to make sure that it's appropriate. And people can respond to it. That all gets monitored as well. So just another outlet for you to find community and find support and share how you're feeling. Along with that, we have the Counseling Center. So they are located in the Student Services building, and they are still seeing students in person, but they're also seeing students virtually. They also have daily drop-in groups that students can access, and different topics every day. So depending on your interest, a great one is mindfulness meditation that can really help you feel more grounded and focused throughout your day. So really great way to develop some coping strategies and also talk to someone in that supportive, non-judgmental environment. USF also has success and wellness coaching. So if you're looking for some assistance in setting goals and reaching your goals, you can meet one-on-one with a coach who will support you in those goals, talk through some strategies that can help you achieve those goals and really hold you accountable to that. And it's really very you driven. So you kind of get to dictate what the conversation is about. And then our office, the Center for Student Wellbeing, and our Reach Growth educators also have a variety of resources available to you. So we have videos, tips, and information available through our website. We're continually putting out information and videos through our social media channels. So we encourage you to follow us there, especially our Instagram stories are putting a lot of great content on there for information that's really applicable to students. A lot of it is created by our pro-health educators, so they really know what the student is going through this experience. So encourage you to check all that out, and of course, let us know any questions or concerns that you have. So that's all that we have for our content, but we're excited to dive into the Q&A section and hear from you as well.
All right, thank you so much, Kathleen and Alyssa, for that super insightful PowerPoint. I know there were a lot of helpful resources and tips in there. And now, students, now is your time to ask any questions in the Q&A, and Kathleen and Alyssa can answer them for you. So first up, we have, I get really distracted when I'm doing homework and always reach for my phone out of habit. Do you have any suggestions on how to stop?
Yeah, so I definitely understand, especially when I'm studying, I always reach for my phone too when I'm distracted. I find that just putting your phone completely into another room definitely helps, or having like a self timer on your phone. So if you start reaching for the apps, it kind of locks you out. Definitely having also like a self timer, especially with the Pomodoro method, really helps. Having that 20 minutes that you know that you're going to be focused, and then you can have that 5 minutes for like a quick break and go back on your phone. There's a lot of tips, and I think that mostly when you're reaching for your phone, it's best to try out and see what works best for you, especially during this virtual time where you're completely always on the computer. And yeah, I would just definitely recommend trying, put your phone away, or any other way that you think that would prevent you from kind of being distracted with your phone.
Thanks, Alyssa. All right, so the next question is, I always get a headache when I'm on my computer for so long, but I have all my classwork and classes online. Do you have any tips on how to prevent that?
Yes, I think that's a great question, and something I'm sure a lot of people are experiencing. I know it's something I've experienced, and Alyssa mentioned it as well. So there is a rule that we've talked about, or in our social media, called the 20-20-20 rule. So if you're looking at a screen for an extended period of time, every 20 minutes you should look at an object that's at least 20 feet away, so something farther off, not close up, for 20 seconds. So that really helps to kind of refresh your eyes, take you away from the screen, what you're looking at, which is usually not too far away from your face, right? So focusing on something farther away for at least 20 seconds, and that can help give your eyes a break and reduce some of the eye strain that can be caused by staring at screens for a long time. I know some people have gotten like those blue light blocking glasses. Those can be helpful. Or there's ways that you can kind of turn off the blue light on some screens, so you can check out your settings. Another thing is just making sure that you're drinking water. I know that sometimes I forget to drink water during the day, especially if I'm not getting up as often and have meetings and things back to back. And know that when you're dehydrated, that is also likely to either cause headaches or exacerbate ones that come on. So just another plug to drink some water.
Awesome. Thank you, Kathleen. Next up, we have, how can I motivate myself to study and stop procrastinating when I'm stressed?
Yeah, so my biggest tip for that is to really focus on kind of the core issue of why you're stressed. Are you stressed because you have a really big essay to write? Are you stressed because there's an exam? Definitely looking back at something that might be worrying you and stopping you from studying can be definitely a first tip to focus on. The second one, as I mentioned during the presentation, was just to take breaks and realize, maybe are you overloading yourself so much that you don't want to study anymore? Are you stressed because you don't know where to start? I would say if you're stressed because it's so much, especially for studying for exam, would just be kind of break it up into smaller sections. So if you have 3 chapters on an exam, I would study maybe 1 chapter for 1 or 2 days and space it out for a week, and start before, like maybe a week or a week and a half before your exam, so you have enough time and you can feel confident in your study habits that you don't have to cram all in one night. Definitely, I think that what helps me when I'm getting stressed, especially about any assignment that I don't really want to study for or do, is to just break that up and realize I don't have to study all 3 chapters into one night. I can break it up. I can do a chapter a day or a chapter every other day, and it can really help stop being stressed or motivating yourself to really study, because it's smaller chunks and it's way more manageable.
Cool. Thanks, Alyssa. All right, so the next question is, I am feeling burnt out already because I am taking a large course load. How can I get myself back to feeling productive?
Yeah, thank you. So just a couple tips, and I kind of, some of it goes back to what Alyssa was saying too, and just getting a sense of your time and what time you have available, and how you can better kind of make your time work for you. So I know something that some of the coaches that I've talked with, something that they recommend is giving your time a job. So if you have any breaks in your schedule, figuring out what can you do with that time that is working towards the things that you need to accomplish. So first, of course, being organized and having a sense of what needs to be accomplished each day, depending on when things are due. But then looking at those times in your schedule where you do have availability and can assign, a task to that time. And as Liza mentioned, like being realistic with how long things are going to take, breaking things up, and hopefully building that momentum, because I feel like once you get started, the more likely you kind of get on a roll, and that kind of builds on each other, and to help you to feel that productive and feel accomplished. So hopefully that can help. If any of our current students have other ideas that work for them that they want to share, of course, would be happy to have them take this as well.
Well, thank you, Kathleen. I just wanted to add, kind of like Alyssa and Kathleen have already said, I cannot stress the importance of taking breaks. I know once you get into the groove of it, it's kind of hard to make yourself take breaks sometimes, but as soon as you feel yourself losing focus, set a timer, walk away from your computer, even if you're just walking around your room or whatever, or just doing something different for 10 minutes, it helps a lot. Or even something that helps me a lot is just moving from my desk to going out in my kitchen, makes a huge difference. So just finding little ways to break it up, just going to get a snack or something, just taking those little breaks really helps. And then next up we have, how many breaks should I take during the day?
Yeah, so this question kind of adds on to a lot of the discussions that we've been talking about. I think taking breaks is very personal. Many times we can be too focused on a task on hand and really disregard breaks or rests because they might appear unproductive, or we might feel like they're a waste of time. Just to remind everyone, not every hour of your day needs to be full of assignments and classwork. And I would recommend that you kind of strive to find a balance between responsibilities and what your body needs each day. each day can look really different. Maybe one day it can be like a Monday and you're feeling really motivated. It's the beginning of the week and you only need to take a few breaks because you're feeling really good. You're doing a lot of assignments, but maybe Tuesday comes around and you feel like, oh, I'm really tired. I didn't really sleep that well last night. Sometimes it's okay to not feel as productive every day. And so if you need more breaks on that Tuesday, it's perfectly fine. Your day's not going to be ruined because you had to take 4 or 5 breaks during your assignments, but definitely kind of feel what your body is feeling each day and realize that there's not a set number of breaks that you need each day. It kind of depends on how you're feeling.
All right, so next question. I miss being able to interact with people and it's been hard making friends. Do you have any suggestions for forming social connections when everything is virtual?
Yeah, that's something that we've been hearing a lot from students, is just missing that face-to-face interaction and feeling more lonely and isolated. So we really encourage students to take advantage of the resources and departments on campus that are really trying to build community. I know that the PALs are doing great work with that, and New Student Connections has their networks, which I'm sure they can talk more about. I also know that the Center for Student Involvement has activities going on every week. I think there's some sort of trivia tournament coming up later this week, which might be kind of a fun way to engage with fellow students. There's also a plethora of student organizations depending on your interest, and while they are meeting virtually, there are still ways to make connections and have some sort of interaction, and even in your classes too. I know our students talk about like having group meetings with their classes and with some of their classmates, so a way to at least have some social engagement even though it looks a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely check out all of the resources that USF has. We have a lot of ways on campus to find ways to interact with people and get to know a bunch of people. One thing that always comes to mind if anybody ever asks me for ways to get involved is the USF Campus Activities Board Instagram. They post all sorts of things from all sorts of different offices on their Instagram. Like Kathleen said, there's like trivia nights. I know that they also have had like virtual escape rooms, movie nights, all sorts of different things where you can just connect to other people. And then even after that, people have made connections and made friends and been able to talk to each other. Another thing that Kathleen mentioned is network links. So we as PALs host network links every week to every other week. And it's basically just a place for you to come and hang out with people who have the same interests as you and stuff like that. So we have all sorts of things ranging from the LGBTQ plus network, transfer students, commuter students, all sorts of different things. And you're bound to find something that you're going to enjoy. And one thing that's like not really campus related is you can find different like apps and websites and things to do like movie parties. So if you came into USF with a bunch of friends and say you all want to watch a movie together, somebody can play the movie on the screen and you can all be in the chat and on video and talking to each other while you're watching a movie or just hanging out. So definitely use all these different like FaceTime, Skype things to your advantage to be able to get that face-to-face interaction.
All right. The next question we have is, I used to use a planner, but I always overestimate how much work I can get done in a day, and I just feel overwhelmed. What can I do differently?
Yeah, so this is a common problem that I've heard a lot of people deal with. Just putting a lot of things down in your planner, but not being able to finish everything, or kind of overestimating or underestimating the amount of time that your classwork really takes. So what I recommend is just looking at all your assignments and figuring out how long does it take for you to complete something that's similar. So if you have 10-question quiz, how long is that going to take? Depending on your class, it might take a while or it might take a few minutes because it might be a really simple quiz. So paying attention to what kind of assignments that you're putting down in your planner, how long you typically take. Also just realizing putting important due dates in front of maybe the assignments that are easier, like I mentioned during the presentation. Sometimes it's harder to kind of want to put that on your planner for the day if you know that it's something that you're really not looking forward to doing. But if it's really important, I would definitely try to again, break it up into smaller pieces. So if you're looking at your planner, you can typically put, maybe you're going to spend 2 hours on writing a few paragraphs of an essay, and then maybe 10 minutes on a really quick quiz, and then take a break. Maybe eat lunch, maybe eat dinner, something, and then go back to looking at your coursework and realizing, is there anything else that I can finish that might be due in the next few days that isn't too hard or too long? And then just check over your syllabus, have a way that you have organizing all your classes, and that can be something that can keep you more reasonable when you're doing your planner, instead of just writing down assignments that you don't really know how long it's going to take.
All right. So the next question we have is, what are some things I can do to have a better morning routine?
Yeah, so I think with things being virtual, you might not have to, your morning routine likely looks a little bit different. So instead of, getting up, getting ready, maybe having some breakfast and then going to class, you're now able to just have your laptop in bed or roll out of bed and onto your computer screen. But that might not be the best environment for learning and paying attention to your classes, and might not be setting your day off to the right start that it could. So in thinking about some things to maybe try out, or things to do to enhance your morning routine. Of course, it starts with a good night's sleep. And we do talk about sleep habits in the virtual chat that we gave in the fall. So you can always check that out. But if you are able to at least get a good night's sleep and prioritize your sleep, and maybe get up a little bit early, so you're not just, going from waking up and logging onto your computer while you're still probably not fully awake. So, getting out of bed, having, a bite to eat, doing some stretches, if you're able to even like take a walk or something to get your blood flowing. Some students like to have some quiet time in the morning where they can journal. But, recognizing, I know Alyssa talked about being a morning person or a night owl. So it's not like you have to get up at 6 in the morning in order to check all of these things off to start your day, but something realistic, 1 or 2 things that can help you to start your day off right. So whether that's just having a bite to eat and taking a shower, those could be some things to do in the morning to help you feel more awake and already feel like you started the day off on the right foot, or even, making your bed, something as simple as that. After you get up, making it, already maybe feel a little bit of accomplished from that. But if any of you other students have some things that you like to recommend, feel free to chime in too.
Yeah, so I know Kathleen mentioned waking up early comes with having a good night's rest. I know that one of my goals last semester was to start waking up a little bit earlier instead of just waking up 5 minutes before my class and just hopping on. I wanted to actually have time to get ready. So my goal, especially this semester, because I have an 8 a.m. class, that I have to wake up earlier than I'm used to. So my tip is, let's say you go to bed at 2 a.m. and that's not really enough time to sleep to wake up at 7. So I recommend taking it slow. Instead of trying to go to bed at 10 p.m. randomly one night, to kind of decrease your amount of time that you're waiting to go to bed by like 30 minutes or even 15. So if you're going to bed at 2 a.m. one night, try to go to bed at 1:30. And then the next night, try to go to bed at 1. So it can kind of train the way that your brain is working, because usually trying to go to bed at 10 p.m. every single night when you're not used to, it can be really difficult, and you might just end up being in your room, staring wide awake at the ceiling, waiting for yourself to fall asleep. So I definitely recommend taking it slow. You can't expect yourself to have a perfect morning routine in one day. Sometimes it takes time to really develop these habits, especially changing your sleep schedule. Another tip that I have too is, when you wake up, just take a big glass of water and drink that. We don't really drink water when you're sleeping, so a lot of the times we don't realize that we might be a little dehydrated, and drinking water can really energize you in the morning. And if you aren't really a person to eat breakfast, I would recommend waiting until a little bit more into the morning, maybe around 11 a.m. and get a little bit of a snack. So if you feel nauseous in the morning, you don't have to eat something right away. You can just drink a big glass of water and then eat a little bit later, and that might actually help you feel more energized too.
Cool. I know that one was like super helpful for me because I feel that I'm not a morning person, but I try to be. All right. So our next question is, I do not have any synchronous classes this semester, so it is hard for me to set a schedule every day. As a result, I'm running behind in readings. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, so I can put my input into this too. So I have a mixture of in-person, synchronous and asynchronous classes. So it's been kind of a struggle figuring out a schedule that works with all three of the different types of classes. But especially for my asynchronous class, I do find like that is the one that I push away a little bit more because that doesn't have a set time. So I completely understand why you run behind in those classes because no one's really checking up on you, reminding you that your assignment's due next week or even tomorrow. So a lot of the times this has to be scheduled a lot in advance. So what I do is I look at the assignment due dates for that class, especially if it's like asynchronous and maybe your assignments don't even have due dates. So space it out. So if you realize that maybe your professor has modules or something that's maybe due, everything's due at the end of the week. So you can space it out. So if you have, let's say you have 2 readings every week for this class, so you can space it out. So Tuesday you read one, Wednesday, Thursday read another one, and then it can be due on Friday, and then you have enough time so you know, especially when you don't have a professor, I would recommend going to office hours, reaching out to other students if you know them, just to maybe form a study group or something to keep you motivated and on track. And you don't have to be alone with everything, especially if you don't feel like you can directly talk to your professor. I would recommend reaching out, asking questions, seeing if there's a study group, or even tutoring if you need it as well. But I would say definitely having an organizing system as well can really help during asynchronous classes.
All right, so thank you everyone for your questions, and thank you to Kathleen, Alyssa, and Kayla for all of the great answers to all these questions. Kathleen and Alyssa, do you have any key takeaways or final thoughts before we wrap up tonight?
Yes, one other thing that I would like to mention that we kind of alluded to but didn't quite say it as explicitly is just setting those boundaries for yourself. So sometimes it will be necessary for you to, in your attempts to take breaks, to identify when those times when you do need to step away from a task and set those boundaries between your academic life and your personal life, and to make sure that you are giving your body and your mind and spirit and everything, what it needs. So making sure that you're able to kind of set those boundaries for yourself and be respectful of that. So, whether that's in your organization calendar, like setting that time, even if it's just 15 minutes or 20 minutes every day, that's a little self-care, break for you and a way for you to do something that you enjoy, so that you can, be able to give yourself more fully to your other tasks.
I can also add that sometimes, this semester and last semester has been really different than what we're used to. So if you find that you're feeling really overwhelmed or really stressed about things, we definitely have so many great resources here at USF, and don't feel restricted on asking too much help. Everyone's here for you, and there's definitely a lot of resources. If you need help with planning, if you need help with realizing when you have to take a break, there's a lot of resources here at USF.
Those were some great questions, everyone. Hopefully this time was helpful for you to learn a little bit more about our topic tonight, ask some great questions, and hear from this great campus resource available to everyone. Thanks again to our pals, Ivy and Kayla, and to Kathleen and Alyssa from the Center for Student Wellbeing for helping us all to learn a little bit more about how to take care of ourselves just a little bit better in this virtual environment. To connect with the great folks over at the Center for Student Wellbeing, you can go ahead and email Kathleen at kmkoviak@usf.edu, which is currently displayed in the center of your screen. And to stay connected with us at New Student Connections, you can follow us on Instagram at USF_NSC or email us at newstudent@usf.edu, both of which are currently displayed on your screen as well. For more information about these virtual chats and some other great opportunities for all Bulls this fall, or rather, excuse me, this spring, please check out Go Bulls Guides, which is an app you can download, and in there you can pull up the USF Student and Family Guide. In there you'll be able to access a wealth of information, lots of resources, tips, and a calendar of events that you can take advantage of this semester. And if you prefer to open that in a browser version as opposed to the app on your phone, you can use the link currently on the left side of your screen. Thanks again for joining us to learn more about How to College, and as always, go Bulls!